Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte again lashes out at a possible ICC investigation into his war on drugs.
He says he's ready to face the International Criminal Court. The court has been investigating his war on drugs.
The International Criminal Court says it has reason to believe crimes against humanity have been committed during Philippine president's war on drugs. Manila's response is that the court has no jurisdiction over it.
Philippines President Rodrigo Duterte is preparing his defense before the International Criminal Court, or ICC, whose pre-trial chamber earlier approved a preliminary investigation into alleged crimes against humanity in relation to the thousands of killings under the Philippines drug war.
But his war on drugs was controversial from the get-go, with activists reporting unlawful killings and the targeting of political opponents.
The crime and drug-infested shanties of the Philippine archipelago have been turned into a drug war zone in the 5 bloody years of Rodrigo Duterte's presidency.
The International Criminal Court's prosecutor says there's reasonable basis to believe that crimes against humanity were committed in the killings of drug users and dealers.
It's not a dog, my son. It's not a dog or a pig to kill like them.
I'm protecting my country. It is my duty as president to protect and serve the people of the Republic of the Philippines.
While his statement appeared to be said in passing and as an ad-lib towards the end of his pre-recorded speech, he did say that police and officials have expressed concern for him over the investigation. He said he is Filipino and the Philippines has its own judicial system. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque has said in the past that the Philippines will not recognize ICC's jurisdiction over the country. It was in 2018 when the Philippines withdrew from the Rome Statute, that's the treaty that created the ICC.
In her request for authorization to launch an ICC probe, former ICC prosecutor Fatu Bensouda heavily quoted Duterte's statements, urging the killing of criminals and drug suspects. Bensouda went as far back as statements Duterte made when he was mayor in Davao City and during his 2016 campaign for the presidency, where he said he will order the killing of criminals.
Among the alleged crimes, murder and torture. It also says drug suspects were subject to serious injuries and mental harm. The ICC investigated allegations that Mr. Duterte and other government officials actively promoted and encouraged the killings.
The 6,000 killed by police, by their own accounting, a fraction of the body count. Thousands more were shot dead by masked assassins who have stalked the country's slums.
According to the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights in a separate report, it said that there is a pattern of police planting evidence and that there is reason to believe that these killings are indeed systematic.
They're calling this a confession, an admission that would make it easier for the ICC to rule against the president. Your thoughts?
They're always putting the wrong interpretation of what he's saying.
That's it?
And again, ICC, we will repeat, ICC has no jurisdiction over the Philippines.
Does not recognize the International Criminal Court's jurisdiction over the Philippines. He says the ICC cannot investigate a country that does not cooperate with the investigation to begin with, adding that any such probe would be a waste of time and resources.
President Duterte has denied he's ever ordered police to kill suspects. After branding the International Criminal Court useless, he withdrew the Philippines from the ICC in 2019. But that may have proved too late. And for a lawyer, he had an uncanny knack for shooting himself in the foot, using racially offensive language to refer to his judicial nemesis.
Itong ICC, bullshit itong, I will not, why would I defend or face an accusation before white people? You must be crazy.
Bensouda is unconvinced by explanations from Duterte's aides who characterized his admissions of extrajudicial killings as not serious or the president just being playful, given the high number of killings in connection with the drug war.
Our laws are different. Our criminal procedure is very different. How are you supposed to get justice there? Ako, magharap ng mga puti, Litse kayo.
But just how important are the president's statements for the ICC? For former ICC Judge Raul Pangalangan, Bensoda used the president's statements to establish there was a state policy on killings in relation to the drug war.
If you look at the prosecutor's request for permission to proceed to the investigation, the prosecutor actually spends some time looking at statements issued by the president, issuances by the Philippine National Police to carry out those citing those speeches.
The former ICC prosecutor Fatou Bensouda said in a report that the court retains jurisdiction over crimes against humanity in the Philippines committed from when the country was a party to the Rome Statute, that's in 2011, up to the effectivity of its withdrawal from the treaty. So that covers 2016 when the drug war started under Mr. Duterte. The prosecutor says the court retains jurisdiction over alleged crimes against humanity in the Philippines from when the country was a state party to the Rome Statute that created the ICC, that was starting November 2011, up to the day before the effectivity of the Philippines' withdrawal from the statute. It is only the second country to have withdrawn from the Rome Statute, and that already covers the year when the drug war started under President Rodrigo Duterte. The Philippines insists that the domestic adjudication and investigation mechanisms in relation to some pattern of police brutality in the Philippines drug war are working.
It also says many of those targeted had already surrendered to police, while a significant number of victims were minors. Official data says close to 6,000 people have been killed in police operations. Activists believe the real number is many times higher. Mr. Duterte has hit back at those who criticized his war on drugs. He said he will kill even more people as long as it rids the country of drugs.
You have to shoot them dead. And this is what is the human rights idiots are trying to complain. You know, when I say I shoot them dead, I'd prefer to shoot them in the heart or in the head. If you insist on a drug war, I will kill you all. Ang kasalanan ko lang, yung mga extrajudicial killing. Eh, yung extrajudicial killing naman, itong mga ulo, lalo na yung itim na, yun.
So, by the very definition of EJK, it's state-sponsored killings, and the president just admitted to it by saying his only sin is extrajudicial killings. But you're saying that's not what he meant. What exactly did he mean?
Of course, that's not what he meant.
Duterte's lawyers regularly dismiss his comments as playful, but legal experts elsewhere have marveled at his unusual and cavalier contempt for the law. Some go so far as to describe it as a prosecutor's dream.
What law, what divine law or divine right will prevent me from saying, papatayin kita?
Huwag kayong mag-imbento na yung namatay ng malaria dyan, pati ita-charge ninyo sa akin. Kalukuhan na yan.
Mr. Duterte's statement comes a year before a national elections. He has had record-high satisfaction ratings that dipped 9 percentage points mid-2021, according to a survey released last month. As to the implications, this could mean that the ICC investigation could possibly present a political vulnerability for Mr. Duterte, a highly popular president whose allies may have been banking on his endorsement for the 2022 elections. Leftist Philippines-based rights group Karapatan has said that the day of reckoning for Mr. Duterte is coming nearer.
Sabi ko naman, before I forget, maraming mga pulis dyan, pati official, they are scared. Parang ano daw mangyari sa akin. Sabi ko, tigas ng ulo ninyo. Di ba sinabi ko, anything na ginawa ninyo in the prosecution of the drug war, as long as you obey the law, I will protect you. Akin yan. Akin, hindi mo. Ako ang sasagot yan. At kung may magkulong man, ako na ang pakulong.
Now, the prosecution of these crimes is also not subject to any time limit, says the prosecutor. The report says open source information indicates that a limited number of investigations and prosecutions have been initiated in the Philippines in relation to abuses under the drug war. It said criminal charges have been filed, but only against a limited number of people, typically low-level physical perpetrators.
The fact of his utterances are not the crime in itself. It's just an indication of his awareness that these killings were taking place and that he, as president with the power to either stop them, investigate them, or have them continue, decided to have them continue.
Dyan ang kaso, hintayin ko kayo. I will prepare for my defense na yung ICC na yan, pati yung wag lang kayong magsinungaling.